Let's speak about something that not many speak about, or far too little. Many men today are struggling in silence, and it's not because they want to. It is because they have no other option. It is not because men do not want to speak up. Men really want to speak up. But it is our society that doesn't allow men to speak up safely. And this is why so many men in our day and age are choosing silence. From a young age, we're telling men to man up, to be strong, to be silent, to shut up and work through it on their own, never asking for help. But we don't realize what that strength really costs men. What we are expecting from men in modern day society has broken many men, and not because they're weak. It is because many men are expected to carry the weight of everyone and everything else, not leaving any space for themselves to feel their emotions, or sometimes just not know what to do next in life, to feel their pain, and sometimes also be allowed to feel weak and vulnerable, because we all have those moments in life. And we're not allowing modern men to have these moments without judging them for it. Men in our day society are getting little understanding and little support for when they feel weak or vulnerable. In this 3-part series, I want to shed light on how men are struggling in silence in our modern day society and what we can do as men, as women, and as people together to support men to safely speak up about their suffering and what they are working through, and safely speak up about their struggles and how we can support them in growing and healing their pains. For generations, men had to hold up the facade of being the strong, stoic provider that everyone else can lean on. But behind that mask, hidden emotions and pushed away pain. No one was really interested in who this man is behind the character that he's playing. Provide, protect, and perform. That has been the masculine script for decades. And we're still expecting this from men in our day and age. But slowly, over the past decades, things started to shift. Things started to change in our society. Women became more dominant in the workforce. They were able to pursue careers, be independent and liberated. And with that, suddenly the roles of men have changed. But no one had rewritten the script, and no one is there to guide them through this change and help young men find their place in society again. And inherently, modern men are still trying to follow this script because it is in their nature. But no modern, liberated woman is waiting on that. They're not accepting chivalry or masculine energy anymore from men. We now see men being shamed for being masculine, for following the script that we have indoctrinated in men for many decades. And sometimes it's even seen as toxic masculinity or patriarchal control. But at the same time, we're expecting men to be more soft, more feminine, less abrasive, let's put it that way. But we're also punishing men for being too emotional. So what are men to do? Men are no longer understanding of what is expected of them in our society because we have double standards for men. And it's no wonder that men are confused, because whatever they do, they're never doing the correct thing. Men are being pushed into molds that we expect of them in our current day society, where women are thriving and many women are in their masculine energy. However, this feels inauthentic to men, and men feel like they're disconnected from who they truly are and who they want to be in society. And many men are feeling unneeded for what they want to contribute in relationships or in society to people in their lives. And the sad reality we need to face is that this is detrimental repercussions. We're not aware of the effects of young men being so dislodged from society at this very moment. Many men are feeling lost and disconnected, not knowing their place in our society anymore. And we can see this in a steep rise of male suicide rates across the globe. And this is in particularly hitting young men because young men have not yet found their place in society, and they have been following a script from their fathers or from their grandfathers, which doesn't apply anymore in our day and age. This is why we see so many young men being lost, and also a lot of young men committing suicide. And as I mentioned, this isn't a small issue because it's affecting almost half of young men alive today. Half of the men under 30 are experiencing feelings of loneliness, of loss, of not knowing where you belong in life. And sadly, we are not speaking up enough about this epidemic, this silent epidemic that we as a society are turning a blind eye towards. Now, there are two important points that I want to talk about in this video today. The first is the pressure that modern men experience to perform without any emotional support. And the second point being the loss of purpose that many men experience in a world that no longer values masculine energy. Sadly, it's still true today that many young men are raised in the mindset that in order to receive love or respect, you gotta perform, you gotta rise to the top, you gotta succeed. If you fall, don't cry. Try hard, but don't fail. Ugh, feelings? Nah, we don't want to see your emotions. Now, one thing that does do this is build resilience. So we're building a lot of very resilient men in this manner. The other thing that it does is that it builds emotional starvation and emotional disconnection. Feeling emotions and exposing your emotions feels unsafe. And eventually what this does is that it disconnects you from your authentic self. And this is what many men feel. They feel lost in society because they have been taught to follow a script that no longer applies or works in our day society. But from a young age, these men have been taught to ignore their authentic self because they need to follow the masculine paradigm of provider, of protector. And now we have a generation of men that are disconnected from who they authentically are because they've been taught to push that away. But the thing that they have been learned to follow does not work any longer. And as I mentioned before, the men from previous generations were just expected to be strong, to provide, to be the framework of a marriage, of a relationship, or even of society. However, modern men are expected to be everything. They need to be successful, but humble. They gotta be strong, but also sensitive. And most of all, they have to be ambitious, but never aggressive. Oh yeah, and they gotta have an open heart, but never shed a tear. And modern men are feeling judged for each and every one of these aspects. And one wrong move, and you're toxic. You're misogynistic or even weak. And what is the result? Men are growing even more disconnected, even more resentful, even more lonely, and they're suffering in silence. As I mentioned before, for most of history, men were needed in our society. They were the bedrock for relationships. They were the structure for society. And we need to remember that everything that has been built by masculine energy. Men were respected for what they had to offer as men to our society. They built, they protected, they provided, and not only for their families or their loved ones. They did that for our society, for everyone in our civilizations. But now, our modern day society calls these important traits, the traits that build the world as we know it right now. They label it as toxic masculinity, as outdated, as patriarchal control. And because of this, many men no longer know where they stand in society. They don't know where they're needed or if they're even needed at all. We're basically telling men to stop to be men. And this is leaving a lot of men confused to how they connect with us, with women, with the rest of the world, with the rest of society. And many men are feeling unwanted, unneeded. They don't know their place in the world anymore because we are denying them to be men. And we see this in other situations as well. When someone is being denied to be who they are inside, they disconnect. They pull away from society that denies them to be their authentic self. When authenticity and purpose is stripped away from a person, they drift. We humans need purpose. We need a goal in life. We need meaning. We need to feel like we're valued and we're contributing something to someone else's life, even if it's family or friends or society at large. This is what Viktor Frankl's work is about meaning. If we do not have meaning, we wither away, we die. We all want to be seen and appreciated and respected for what we bring to the lives of others or to society at large. And this is especially important for men. And we seem to have forgotten that in our day and age. We seem to deny men from this. We see it in women who just say, oh, I don't need a man. I can do everything myself. Why do we need men? Men are just extra. And our society actually tells men that their masculinity is not welcome and not needed. And because of this, we are seeing men drift away from the most important connections in life, from work, from love, from family relationships. There are large groups of men who feel like they're not accepted in our society, and they just end up gaming all day or smoking weed all day and sharing that with other men that are in the same situations. And they're stuck in these echo chambers, not being able to get out of it because they feel purposeless in this life and in the world. They literally feel like they have nothing to contribute to our society in this day and age. We also see this in the high number of dropouts in men in colleges because men feel unseen and unsupported. Most of the attention goes to women and young girls in schooling. And research shows that girls in schooling get a lot more support from the schooling system than their male peers actually do. And we see the lack of support for men across the board. We see it in marriages. The marriage rates are plummeting because men are no longer feeling that they're needed in marriage, in support, in creating the marital and relational structure with a woman. So men are pulling away from that as well. And it's also because women keep saying that they don't need men. They can do everything themselves. And these are very bad development that we also see women, for example, raise children on their own or choose to have a child without the father in the life of a child. And it's really not because men do not want a place in a relationship or men don't want a place in society. It's not because men are lazy. It is because our system has no place for men. Our system denies the pain of men, and our system denies supporting men when they need it because we think that men can do everything themselves. They have been doing that for years, for decades. Men are strong. Men can do it all on their own, so why would they need our support? However, we fail to see that we are two sides of the same coin. Men won't succeed without women, and women will not thrive without men. If we look at a tree will not grow if only the foliage grows, but the roots are lacking behind. They need to be in balance, and it's the same with men and women. A woman won't thrive without men, and men won't thrive without women. And for some reason, in our day and age, we seem to want to disconnect everything and see everything black and white. Everything needs to be separate. Everything is a separate thing, but we fail to see that everything is interconnected. Everything in life is. And we need to remember and become conscious of that without polarity, connection dies. And also that without purpose. Life becomes meaningless. Now, the most important thing to remember that this is not about blaming anyone. It's not about blaming men or women. No men or no women are at fault. It is the system that we have built and that we're all stuck in. It is about becoming aware that we're all connected and that we're two sides of the same coin. A river cannot exist without the riverbed. And when we learn to see that, when we become conscious of that, we can choose to reconnect and rebuild. Because in the end, real strength is not suppression. It is the ability to face your pain with honesty, with authenticity. Look at it, grow from it, sit with it. And once you learn to do that, you will grow stronger. So don't hide in silence. And this is for men and women. Trust your authenticity. Choose your own authentic truth and fully stand behind that. Now for the men out here, it is crucial that you choose to reconnect with men that you can talk to, that will help you in your healing. So don't go on fora that are just perpetuating your pain and pulling you into an echo chamber of negativity. It is key that you step out of the victim mindset and understand that you have control over your reality and the results that you will get in life. Find men's groups or friends that want to help you become better, that want to help you become stronger and grow and become independent in healthy masculinity. And what I mean by that is that you authentically and independently stand in your masculine power, that you trust your grounded, calm masculine power. Whatever happens, if you need to set a boundary or if you're challenged, you can do this from an empowered, healthy, masculine energy. So find mentors and find men that can inspire that in you. And you can even find this in books, in podcasts, in YouTube videos. Find men that lead from kindness and authenticity, that don't hide behind a mask of what this fake type of masculinity looks like, this aggression, this control. Masculinity is framework. Masculinity is kindness. Masculinity is grounded leadership. So find sources that help you in growing that and help you in healing that. And when you're in the process of becoming more grounded as a masculine leader, focus on meditation, because meditation will bring up all the thoughts that you do not want to think about, and it will show you a pattern. Now, whatever comes up in these moments of silence that you give yourself, write them down, journal about this, find what these thoughts are about, and this is your starting point of your healing journey. And the next step would be to take this to the men's groups or to a friend who can help you work through it, or with a therapist. Work through these patterns that you see in yourself. Try to heal them. Try to grow from them. And this will help you to become a more grounded and secure man. And for my ladies out there, understand that a man's silence is not indifference. It is bottled up pain. It is a man who's afraid to open up. So what you can do is offer the man in your life, whether this be your grandfather, your father, your son, or a friend, or your partner, offer them the safe space to open up. Vulnerability is not weakness. The soul needs to open. People need to express. And men have this very rarely. So learn to become this safe haven for the men in your life. Allow a man to open up without dismissal or without judgment. Don't offer him advice. Let him work through it. Let him open up and speak to you. And ask him, how can I help you? What can I do to support you? Is there anything that I can do for you? And let him express what he needs from you. If he just wants to express himself and talk about it, accept that. That is fine. Don't try to heal him. He needs to do that on his own. Trust him. He's a man. Trust his masculine energy. He will find a way, but tell him express to him that you're there for him if he needs you. If you can offer a man this space, whether it be a friend or your partner, you will be able to grow stronger together. You will be able to heal together, and you will be able to build a deeper bond. Now, the most important thing for all of us to understand is that openness isn't weakness. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. And we need to help each other and encourage each other to become more open and give men the space to express themselves and to feel seen. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. If it was, please give it a like, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel because it really helps to reach a wider audience with my videos. Now, if you want to support my work, you can find a couple of ways in the description box below or the pinned comment. But you can also sign up for the book that I'm writing. You can find the mailing list link in the pinned comment below. The book is called The Shadow Side of Feminism, wherein I explore if feminism has unintentionally cast a shadow over men. Now, if this is something that you're interested in, please sign up in the link in the pinned comment below. As I mentioned before, this video is part 1 in a 3-part series about how our modern society has hurt men. If you want to watch the other episodes, you can find them in the description box below, or you can watch video number 2 right here, which is about how the liberation of women has unintentionally hurt men. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.